So today I want to talk about how an estate plan can complement a real estate investor's business holdings. An estate plan generally consists of a few instruments, right? The main instrument or the driving force of generally an estate plan is a trust. And unless you're doing high end tax planning, the trust is what we describe as a revocable trust, right? It can be amended, changed, revised. There's no restrictions on that. And what that trust does, and the main elements of that trust, is it basically allows uh, your assets to be immediately handled or dealt with in the case that you become incapacitated or you pass away. And you don't have to go into court. You don't have to obtain court approval. The trust lives on after you, basically. And so it avoids probate. The second thing that a trust does is allows for provisions for minors. If you have children under 18, or for that matter, under 30 or 25 or whatever age you deem appropriate for somebody to have any form of assets or substantial assets, you can put restrictions in there and say, well, until they turn 25, I'm going to allow my successor trustee, the trusted person that you've appointed to handle your assets if something should happen to you. I'm going to allow them to be in control of those assets and have discretion on how to use those funds. Now, how does that trust then play into your business holdings? Well, if something happens to you and you own a business, and many investors own businesses with partners or they're in transactions, whether by joint venture or otherwise, with other parties, right? And so if the investor doesn't have an estate plan in place, well, then what happens is if something happens to them, everything grinds to a halt. And then what you have happen is you have the court basically make a determination based upon statute, if you will, who is going to then step in and handle the affairs, handle that investor's business affairs. It could be somebody that the investor would never want to be in that position. It could be somebody that is very difficult to deal with.
Could even be a creditor, right?
It even could be a creditor. We've had that, right? Where we've either had or gone on behalf of creditors into probate court and had them appointed.
Sure.
So you just never know, who's going to fall on that order of priority and, have to be involved with those business holdings. So the way an estate plan complements an investor's business holdings, it allows them to basically figure out who that trusted person is that will be able to step in and won't basically, ruin their business relationships, harm those that they're in business with, harm their businesses, and will basically do the right thing by their business, by their business partners. It also then allows for the orderly succession of assets to make sure that, hey, I'm a successful investor, right? I have millions of dollars worth of holdings, and all of a sudden now I have, a 19-year-old child who's going to have that, have access to those holdings, and they're going to go have a fun weekend in Vegas or whatever they're going to do with it, right? You just never know what's going to happen to those assets. So by having a good, solid estate plan in place where you are able, and in a position to make good, strong, intelligent decisions regarding your affairs should something happen to you, it complements your business holdings and allows for your business to continue, or for you to even leave a legacy should something happen to you and should you no longer be able to operate within that business setting.